normally, if you're especially sitting in Rhino, Curtis Park, where we sit today, to buy land and be able to do a 7,000 square foot indoor greenhouse and then 10,000 feet of non-revenue producing farmland, this couldn't happen in the city. But because of the way they took care of us and helped us and the mission they wanted to create, we were able to do this, which is, and this just got finished up within the last couple weeks, which is, it's fantastic. It's happening. It's doing exactly what we'd hoped, which is bringing community together and a great place for people to experience the city. But I'll let Ryan talk a little bit about how we formed our partnership and relationship.
Thanks, Jonathan. Well, exciting to see you all out here. This is, as John mentioned, a partnership that we started in 2013, but it was really a transformation that this community started back in '97. The Housing Authority, with its Curtis Park neighbors and support of the city, in 1998 applied for a Hope 6 grant from HUD as our partner to help stimulate and help transform this neighborhood, where this block, along with the other 7 blocks up the spine of Curtis Park, was historically owned by DHA and still remains largely owned by DHA through ground lease structures like this to accommodate revitalization under that Hope 6 grant, where back then it was probably a $22 million grant that does predate my involvement with the Housing Authority. I came in '05, where I was doing another Hope 6, and we do that throughout the neighborhood. But what we were doing in partnership with not only the neighborhood, but then the private sector is working steadfast to preserve existing subsidized housing that we all know and need in our communities to keep that diversity, but then also to try to make it cohesive so that it's not there's that neighborhood and here's a different neighborhood and serves a different demographic. So we've tried to integrate those communities, and we do that throughout these neighborhoods. But this vision started probably in about 2007, 2008, where we had a vacant lot that sat here, and that we said, this is going to be a slow time. And we all know what happened between kind of 2007 and 2010. There wasn't much happening. And that's where we dreamed up what we called the Sustainability Park. And we were taking on new development activities. We were one of the few that were really pushing hard because of our funding didn't necessarily change with market times, but the demand for affordable housing was still there. And so we were taking on LEED Platinum buildings throughout our communities. And we said, let's use this area as a demonstration of what we think can be a successful model moving forward. And so we piloted out so many different things, from gardening to farming to fish farms, and worked with our partners, had display of small homes and other aspects of what we thought was good community building by being able to attract that. We brought then the Big Wonderful into the neighborhood, again, for more events and activities. But all of this was kind of following what we had done in redevelopment in the other blocks, where we developed about 450 units total of mixed income housing. And so this was a lot that we held steadfast and said, we want home ownership. And then through the evolution of that sustainability park and those initiatives that we were piloting on this lot, we made some investment into the lot, and we redid all of the curb and gutter and the streets and the sidewalks, and we added lighting and some of this fence and some of that original fencing, where we said, let's make an initial investment to the public domain. And then that made it more inviting, where it was an old housing site that had just been demolished in a vacant lot. But it also put some eyes and attracted people to this neighborhood that otherwise hadn't looked at Curtis Park proper the way it does now. We finally said, you know what, the market's back. We think we can find another builder or another developer that will help commit to our home ownership aspects. And home ownership was a key part of the HUD Hope 6 grant, because that really helps with stabilization in communities. We don't want our communities to be 100% rental, so we always try to have a balance of both homeowners and renters, and then having commercial activities like this. And so through that, as Jonathan mentioned, we then kicked off an RFP and a large, lengthy, robust process with our community, engaging and listening, and say what is and where is the best value. And through that effort, what we've identified is that the gardens were something we wanted to keep, right? Having year-round gardening was another thing we wanted to keep. And then we also supported a rezoning to activate the corners, where this was historically just a residential site, because we wanted to have vibrancy not only during the day, but even the evening. And sometimes when people are away at work and back, you have that gap. And so we wanted to activate that public realm, and we wanted to have it with educational opportunities like the farming and the gardening, but also to build that community like we're all here today, that I think is going to have a positive influence and help with people that live in an urban environment to say, what is farming about? Where does food come from? A school across the street? Well, we all can see now, and we can learn from that, and we're going to share that lesson, and we do that throughout the neighborhoods that we serve. And so it was a great partnership. It was a good opportunity that we brought together, and seeing us here 6 years later after all of this happening and we're still friends, that's a testament to development. So, but as a community partner, looking at these public-private partnerships is something we do in all the neighborhoods we serve, and we're continuing to do that in neighborhoods across the city. And so it's exciting for us to be here and be able to share it.